Welcome to the 2023 Summit on Sustainability. Please welcome to the stage Kirsten Carr, Chief Regional Strategy Officer and Senior Director of Planning at the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission.
Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing? I am so excited for today. If you don't know, we are actually celebrating the 17th year of the Summit on Sustainability. So on behalf of our board, our team, and the more than 80 local governments and regional organizations that make up MORPC, I want to thank each of you for attending this year's summit, along with your 600 closest friends. I might say this every year, but I really think we have the best program yet, with truly exceptional speakers and breakout sessions. If you had a chance to pick up our program at the reception booth, do it now if you haven't, but I just wanted to point out that we're always trying to think about being sustainable with the summit overall, and especially with the program. We will likely go in the future to more digital versions, but for now we still have a print version and a digital version available. And don't throw it away afterwards, because it also will serve as a gift wrapping paper for Christmas. So I hope that the entire program will not only spur more collaboration, but also inspire ideas for innovation and new ways of doing things. We're working in a hybrid world with incredible speeds, where information travels and is produced faster than ever before, unfortunately not always correctly, and technology is evolving also very quickly. It means that practices and technologies related to sustainability are changing quickly. We're talking about battery-powered cars, renewable energy through water, wind, solar, building more products out of recycled materials, or new ways to capture and reuse water are just a few examples. Our team at MORPC put a lot of work into developing today's program, from 15 breakout sessions to 2 plenary sessions, and Pecha Kucha presentations during lunch as well. I know they are crowd favorite. We hope that this program will inspire all of us to continue to innovate and implement best practices around sustainability, so that Central Ohio can continue to be a strong, resilient region moving forward. So before we get started, I want to recognize that this conference would not be possible without the generous support from our sponsors. So I want to take a moment to recognize them, and then we can thank them afterwards. I want to specifically thank our presenting sponsor, NOPEC, for their generosity and support for the Summit on Sustainability. I also want to thank our plenary session sponsors, SWACO and Open Road Renewables. Without the support of organizations like yours, the Summit would just not be possible. And as well, all of our sponsors and exhibitors who are helping to make this event successful. Please, let's give all of them a round of applause. And with that, I will get us started. So to kick off the summit, we will now recognize outstanding leaders with our Regional Sustainability Awards. So please join me in welcoming our chair of the Sustainability Advisory Committee, Mayor Ben Kessler, our vice chair of the Sustainability Advisory Committee, Mayor Lori Jadwin, and MORPC's own Associate Director of Transportation Planning, Maria Schapper.
Good morning. Thank you. Who am I? I'm Ben Kessler, Mayor of the City of Bexley, Interim Board Secretary of MORPC, and Chair of the Sustainability Advisory Committee at MORPC. This morning, I am so pleased to present the Leadership in Sustainability Award. This award recognizes an individual or an entity that exemplifies outstanding leadership and innovation in seeking comprehensive sustainability solutions to address key challenges facing the region. It is our great honor that we announce the recipient of this year's Leadership and Sustainability Award, Arya Alex, Sustainability Manager with the City of Columbus. Arya, please join us on stage.
Ari's leadership style can be summarized, I think, with 3 words: compassion, dedication, and collaboration. He is so passionate about what he does, and that comes through every single day. He's so collaborative. He has gotten our community very involved, and he works great with our partners.
He leads by doing. He's not afraid to get in there and take on any task in order to complete our work or to do his work, and I think that really is an exemplification of his leadership style. He really is someone who's fun to work with, really energetic, always brings energy and passion into everything he does.
I mean, from the time I met Ari in 2014, when he was just a lowly volunteer out here at Battelle Darby, he's been such a leader in sustainability, really all our efforts at Metro Parks and beyond.
I think Ari's passion comes from his love for the environment and his community, and you can see that by everything that he does, trying to mold those two together.
Ari has really had a huge impact on sustainability here in Central Ohio, and especially within the city of Columbus. He really has embraced our Columbus Climate Action Plan goals and taken on a huge leadership role, leading a lot of our waste work related to climate.
Now with his role with the city of Columbus and their sustainability program, the tons and tons of trash and debris that we've been able to remove from our parks. Not that our parks were dirty before, but these volunteers that he's able to gather and get out, in the thousands of people and thousands of pounds of trash that he's been able to remove. It's been an amazing journey with Ari, and I can't think of a better person ever to receive this award in sustainability and just the leadership and sustainability that Ari provides.
Stand over here, I think. Is that right? Oh, afterwards? Never mind. Forget that. Good. Do I need to stand up here? Yeah, you do. Sorry.
Good morning. My name is Laurie Jadwin, and I serve as the mayor of the city of Gahanna and vice chair of MORPC's Sustainability Advisory Committee. I'm also Ben Kessler's sidekick at meetings, so we have a good time. I'm honored today to present the Collaborative Achievement in Sustainability Award, recognizing a group of entities or individuals who have shown effectiveness in producing environmental accomplishments through a collaborative effort with tangible results, innovation, and long-term impacts on Central Ohio. This morning, we are excited to announce that the award goes to the City of Columbus and Impact Community Action for their solar workforce development programs. If we could invite Bo Chilton and City of Columbus Council Member Emmanuel Remy to please join us on stage.
An innovative partnership with the City of Columbus and Impact Community Action is illuminating the future of our region. This collaboration establishes a local talent pipeline to address the labor shortage that the solar industry is currently experiencing, and ultimately will reduce carbon emissions in our region. The Empowered program, a new clean energy jobs program, offers training and on-the-job experience while focusing on recruiting participants aged 18 to 24 from communities that have been historically marginalized and underserved in opportunity neighborhoods. Empowered participants receive training, mentorship, and apprenticeship opportunities to work with the installers through the Columbus Area Solar Co-op. The Solar Energy Training Lab ensures continued training and education with all the necessary experience and certifications to attain a job in the fast-growing solar industry. Empowered advances both the Columbus Climate Action Plan and environmental justice by supporting those communities most impacted by climate change and ensuring our workforce is built with members from the communities we serve. MORPC is proud to honor the City of Columbus and Impact Community Action with the 2023 Collaborative Achievement Award, celebrating their efforts to provide a more sustainable and prosperous future.
Good morning, and a sincere congratulations to all of today's award recipients. I'm Maria Schopper, Associate Director of Transportation Planning at MORPC, and it is with great pleasure that I have the honor of presenting the Leadership in Mobility Award. This award is given annually in memory of William A. Bill Lewis Jr., former Chief Mobility Engineer of the City of Columbus. The Leadership in Mobility Award recognizes an individual who exemplifies outstanding work toward creating a world-class multimodal transportation system for Central Ohio. We are thrilled to announce that this year's Leadership in Mobility Award goes to Gino Tucker, founder of Remember Us Urban Legends. Gino, please join us on stage.
Miguel Tucker, known to his friends as Gino, is making strides to keep kids off the streets and on the right path, preferably on a bike. After the sudden death of his nephew, Gino was determined to create change by developing programs that give kids in Columbus positive outlets and opportunities for a better future through community outreach and service. Established in 2020, Gino's nonprofit organization, Remember Us Urban Legends, provides programs and activities that equip teens with the skills and social capital needed to be successful in school, work, and in their personal life. Through mentorship, job training, and educational pathways, Gino is finding success in keeping youth in the Linden community engaged. Providing bikes and helmets to area kids while teaching them to cycle safely in their neighborhoods and beyond is just one way Gino is making an impact in the Linden community. Through monthly rides, planned around community events such as Celebrate Trails Day and Juneteenth, Gino empowers our youth to feel more confident cycling in their city, helping to develop kids' independence so that they can take advantage of all the region has to offer. Gino is making a difference every day as he works to unlock the potential of young people in Franklin County by igniting their gifts, building their self-worth, and creating a net worth that leaves a legacy. MORPC is proud to honor Gino Tucker with the 2023 Leadership in Mobility Award, celebrating his efforts to empower youth through cycling.
Gino's not yet here with us this morning, so we will present that award to him later. Oh, I'm so sorry. Gino is here. One more. Okay. Let's give one more round of applause. Congratulations again to all of the Sustainability Award recipients. Now, I would like to welcome to the stage Chuck Kuiper, Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director of NOPEC. I would like to thank again NOPEC for being the 2023 Summit on Sustainability presenting sponsor.
When you want to save money, you buy in bulk at a wholesale club. NOPEC does exactly the same thing with your utilities. We buy natural gas and electricity in bulk from more than 200 Ohio communities. Then, pass the savings and benefits on to you, all to help you enjoy lower utility bills. NOPEC, no one does more to lower your utility bills.
Well, welcome all to the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission Summit on Sustainability. 17 years, that's remarkable. I am Chuck Kuiper, and I'm the Executive Director, Chief Executive Officer at NOPEC. And we are really proud to be the presenting sponsor. Our paths are so similar, and our commitments are the same. To serve and to serve and to serve in a way that leads to change that's positive. Many people are aware of what government aggregations for natural gas and electricity are, and they may even be aware of the types of sustainability and resiliency attainment that can happen as a result of coming together and forming and joining an aggregation. NOPEC, the largest and oldest governmental aggregator in the state of Ohio, has been making resiliency and sustainable, imaginable, and achievable for our communities for 23 years. As our ad said, we use the power of the many to pass savings and benefits on to our customers and communities. For example, NOPEC has retired 9.6 million renewable energy credits on behalf of our communities since 2017. That number grows on a daily basis. We've become one of the premier energy efficiency and sustainability grant makers in the state of Ohio, having granted now over $50 million to member communities for energy efficiency innovations. We use the power of our many united communities to create and expand the only small business and governmental property assessed clean energy lending program that we believe exists in Ohio, or at least that we've heard of. PACE loans are typically many millions of dollars in size. They are that big because, frankly, they're enormously expensive. So small businesses could never access this powerful economic development tool until we created a way for them to gain access. At NOPEC, we make that type of lending available in increments of $100,000 to as much as $1 million, making this unique off-balance sheet economic development tool available on a daily basis to our 50,000 plus business customers, most of whom are small businesses in the truest sense. And not only do we do that for businesses, but our 240 governments are eligible for that as well. And the power of our numbers also means that we can bring our strength to the creation and additionality in utility-scaled renewable energy projects in unprecedented ways. Using the strength of our members, NOPEC has contracted for the development of a 70-megawatt solar facility in Circleville. We have initiated conversations with another South Central Ohio community. In fact, I saw their mayor here today, and yet another in Northeast Ohio. Our goal is to have as much as 45% of the power that our customers use created by Ohio Sun here in Ohio. In fact, if we could figure out how to make the legislature a little more helpful in that process, I'd enlist anyone's assistance. That's a challenge, right? NOPEC partnered 8 years ago now with Next Era Energy. Many of you will know that name, one of the most recognized global leaders in wind and solar and battery storage development on the planet. Not only are they one of the driving forces in our quest for the development of Ohio Solar, but they have helped NOPEC communities place $71 million into their Earth Era Trust. The Earth Era Trust is a voluntary trust where Next Era places a portion of the revenues that they receive, including revenues from NOPEC customers, into this trust. And the only way dollars come out of that trust is when they are used to build new utility-scaled solar or other renewable projects in service territories where they operate, including Ohio. That means NOPEC customers now have had on their behalf $71 million of additional resources placed into that trust, which is partly how we were able to begin to construct real solar initiatives for the benefit of our customers. We couldn't be more proud to have that as a goal, and we believe it will truly make a difference for Ohioans that we serve throughout the state. Now, before I introduce this morning's keynote speaker, I think we want to take a second and watch a quick video.
In our industry, success is measured by size, or lack thereof. We've reached success because of how well we've managed to make something so small give such incredible power to so many people. But with success comes responsibility and challenges. Climate change is one that demands our attention. Our approach has seen positive results, but now we must act on an even greater scale. Intel is committing to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions across our operations by 2040. This is the next big stride in our commitment to sustainability. We're also determined to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in our supply chain 30% and achieve 100% renewable electricity, net positive water, and zero waste to landfill, all by 2030. We're making progress. By already using 80% renewable electricity, returning and restoring over 99% of our water, and putting less than 5% of our waste into landfills. But we have to do more. And this is how we plan to do it. We're working to improve our operations, supply chain, and manufacturing processes, increasing our use of greener chemistry, innovative water conservation, waste reduction, and renewable electricity, to measure, report, and reduce our own direct environmental impact. By embracing a culture committed to improving sustainability in every role in the company, we're reimagining the way we design, develop, source, and deliver products, tools, and services. Leading with open ecosystems drives collaborations that accelerate standards, innovation, and partnerships. We must do what we have always done, work together to achieve our collective ambitions. This is the foundation for how we will do something wonderful.
I love ambition, and I love the fact that Intel is coming to Ohio. I had the opportunity last night to join Todd for dinner along with William and Chris and others. It was a fabulous opportunity to get to know each other and to brainstorm a little bit. Todd Brady has been a passionate sustainability leader and advocate. He serves as the Chief Sustainability Officer for Intel Corporation and Vice President of Global Public Affairs. As Chief Sustainability Officer, he leads Intel's global sustainability initiatives, including climate, energy, water, green buildings, and circular economy initiatives. Currently, Todd's organization is focused on achieving Intel's ambitious 2020-30 sustainability goals and commitment to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions in Intel's global operations by 2040, something that they share with our partner, NextEra Energy, who has committed as the first retail energy developer to hit net zero by 2045, what they call real zero. Yesterday, in fact, Todd was honored with the National Association of Environmental Management's Lifetime Achievement Award. So quite an industrious person. He did say at dinner that probably means he's getting a little older. I think he's got a great publicity photo, and he looks and acts and thinks and leads in a way that is vigorous and youthful and important. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to welcome this morning's keynote speaker, Mr. Todd Brady.
Chuck, thank you, and thank you to MORPC for such a great event here. I'm always energized when I see a room full of sustainability people. These are my peeps. I love meeting. I love getting nerdy and talking sustainability. And so many of you have come up to me, and we've had great conversations so far, and I look forward to having more. However, I am convinced that the reason you're here is because when you saw who was speaking, you thought it said Tom Brady and not Todd Brady. So my apologies. I haven't talked to MORPC. Maybe we can arrange some kind of refund. Actually, I'm looking at the table. They're saying no, so I'm sorry. You're stuck with me here this morning. But let's talk a little bit of sustainability and just a brief introduction to Intel. You see here our purpose as a company. You would think that I wrote this purpose. It looks like a sustainability purpose, but it's not. This is the purpose of Intel, to create world-changing technology that improves the life of every human on the planet. And as the world continues to become digital, our lives and our world relies on technology. My guess is everybody here, whether you realize it or not, you probably touched an Intel product today, whether it was in your phone, in your laptop, in your PC, tied to the cloud, which is giving you directions on how to get here, or checking in with your kids, or whatever that is. It's all tied back to silicon, which makes our economy go. And it's more critical than ever that as we develop this technology, that we do it in a sustainable way and we use it in a sustainable manner. Here's a few examples. You may not know, when you look at a wind turbine, you may not realize that there are literally dozens of semiconductors embedded in that turbine, some of which are Intel, to make that work. As we transition from a fossil fuel economy to a renewable economy in terms of energy generation, that requires smarter grids, ability to move the electrons as solar and wind are intermittent. And so it requires a whole new approach, which again relies on a backbone of technology. Making cities smarter. This is an area where we're investing, making our operations smart. And as you will see Intel here in Ohio, tremendous amount of automation in our factories. And that automation includes our approach to sustainability. As we invest in automation for our chillers, our industrial systems, we've been finding improvements in energy efficiency of 20 to 30%. So huge opportunity to tie technology to our sustainable future. Our global manufacturing presence is expanding. We're super excited that that includes Ohio. One of the unique things about Intel, over the past 40, 50 years, the semiconductor was invented here in the US, Silicon Valley, where we're headquartered. But over time, what has happened is that manufacturing has shifted to Asia. At one time, well over 60, 70% of the semiconductor manufacturing was here in the US. Today, that's shifted where 80% is in Asia. We've continued to invest here in the US, and we're excited to have the additional investment here in Ohio to join our other manufacturing here in the US in Oregon, Arizona, New Mexico. You can see them in the dark blue. Ireland and Israel make our fab manufacturing network. Ohio and Germany are now being added to that network. We do as well manufacture in Asia. That's our back end of our process, what we call assembly and test. And those all work together to create this global manufacturing network, which, as we saw during the pandemic, is so important to have that ability to do that globally. So Ohio, you've seen the numbers. Again, we're super excited, $20 billion investment here. We just, a month ago, hosted a group, and some of you were there to see the progress that we've made at our site in Licking County. 1 year ago, we announced that we were coming to Ohio, and we did a one-year celebration. And you can see the factory beginning to be built up, the construction well underway. We're super excited about that. We're adding to our team here in Ohio. We have some of our team members here with us today. And as we begin manufacturing and ramping that, then we will hire up to 3,000 jobs and the construction jobs that go along with that. And we're excited to be a part of the economy here in Central Ohio. Oops. So let me go back. Okay, so let me shift gears and talk a little bit about sustainability. I won't walk through all of the various goals and targets that we have, but I wanted to put them up on the screen so you can see what our ambitions are. The video referred to it. But we have targets for 2030, 2040, 2050, depending on what we're trying to achieve. We strongly believe, and we're a very goal-oriented company, that as we set these targets, then it will help us establish our vision for what we want to accomplish everywhere, including new factories, new facilities like what we're doing here in Ohio. And so I'm going to dig into a little bit more detail, particularly around climate and water, two of our key focus areas that we have as a company. So first, I want to emphasize that sustainability is a journey. It's not something you can just flip a switch and immediately we go from non-sustainable to sustainable. It's a continuous journey as we grow and expand. And I thought I'd share with you, this is kind of over my career, the timeline that I've been with Intel. I joined Intel in 1995. In 94, we published our first corporate responsibility report or CSR report to share with the world. These are our ambitions as it relates to our environmental performance, and here's how we're doing against those. That was almost 30 years ago now. If you think about that, that was very uncommon at the time, and so I really give a lot of recognition and praise to those who came before me at Intel who established that culture of sustainability and the importance of environmental performance as a company. In 1996, a lot of people don't realize this, as Intel and the semiconductor industry, as Intel, we actually got the semiconductor industry together and said, hey, we are emitting greenhouse gases. Let's do a voluntary commitment to reduce those over the next decade, next couple of decades. And we did that. We actually signed the first formal voluntary agreement that was before the Paris Accord. And as an industry, we said we want to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions over the next decade. That was 1996. In 2006, we began investing heavily in renewable energy. And by 2008, we'd become the largest purchaser of renewable energy in the US. And by 2012, you can see the results of that commitment back in 96 to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, achieving emissions 60% below our 2007 levels, which has exceeded our original target of 20%. And then you can see some other milestones along the bottom there of then expanding this globally. And the reason I share this is because I wanted you to get a feel for the type of commitment that we will also, and that we are making here in Ohio as we bring up a new factory. So as you look at some of those milestones, I'm an engineer, so I'm sorry, now we're nerding out a little bit with the graphs. But over the past decade, you can see what that has meant in terms of our greenhouse gas emissions. And so as you look from 2013 to today, over the past 10 years, the blue bars on the bottom are our actual greenhouse gas emissions. And you can see we've been able to hold those flat to slightly down, even while greatly expanding our manufacturing network. What you see on the dotted bar above is what our emissions would be had we not taken the actions which are on the right-hand side of the screen. And so you can see, had we not taken those actions today, our emissions would be 5x or more what they are. As a result of taking those actions, we've been able to reduce our emissions over the past decade by greater than 80%. So it's possible, but we still have that last 20% to do. And so that's where we need to partner with you, with others, with our suppliers to ultimately get to net zero and really tackle that last 20% that we have to work on. Here's a few other factoids for you to take a look at, again, as we expand that view across our global operations and look at what we're doing in the world. And you can see it ranges from everything from on-site renewable electricity to electricity purchases, the upcycling of waste, and then I want to shift and talk a little bit about water. Oh, I'd also failed to mention LEED certification. So several years ago, as we were building some of our new factories, we said, you know what, we'd like to certify these to LEED. So we went to the U.S. Green Building Council and talked to them about that. And they said, you know what, our standards really aren't written for a manufacturing facility. They're written for an office building. And so we created a working group with the U.S. Green Building Council and other manufacturers to create standards or interpretation of the green building standards that could apply to manufacturing. And we certified our campus in Arizona as one of the first manufacturing campuses to be LEED certified. And so as we build here in Ohio, that is part of our focus as well. That project we have designed and are building it to the LEED green building standards. So let me talk a little bit about water next. Water is an extremely important topic for Intel. Water is used to create semiconductors. And our major use of water is what we call ultra-pure water, which is water that has had all of the impurities removed from it. So think about if you have a water purifier at home, think about that on steroids. So removing impurities down to the parts per trillion level or even more to ensure that the water that touches the surface of our wafer, so this water is used in between the hundreds of process steps that we have to clean the surface of the wafer from one process step to the next. And so that's our major use of water. And so again, as we looked at how can we be sustainable as a company, we're using millions of gallons of water a day at many of our manufacturing facilities. Said, okay, we need to take a step back and we want to be net positive water. What does that mean? That means for every gallon of water that we are extracting from local watersheds, we want to put back a gallon or more of water to those watersheds. And so you go, okay, wait a minute, Todd, you're an engineer. That math doesn't add up, right? You can't create mass. So the way that we do that is threefold. Number one, we have to use water efficiently. When I started at Intel, the kind of state-of-the-art ultra-pure water was about 2 gallons of tap water to produce 1 gallon of ultra-pure water. So only about a 50% efficiency. Today, our engineers, partnering with some of our key suppliers, have gotten that efficiency to over 90%. So for every gallon of ultra-pure water, we can do that with about 1.1 gallon of incoming water. So number one, we've reduced the amount of water that we need. Number two, we need to reclaim and recycle that water. And the photo that you see here is actually from our Oregon facility, where we developed technology to take the wastewater from our facility, so from our factory, treat it, and for those of you who are familiar with wastewater treatment, you'll see some common unit ops processes here that you can recognize, but that'll include primary, secondary, and tertiary treatment of that water. And so then the water quality that comes out of this reclaim facility is very high quality water that can then be reused back at Intel. And we create that loop, that recycling of that water back. We're in the process of working on a very similar design for here in Ohio, for our manufacturing site, partnering with the City of New Albany, the City of Columbus, and we're really excited what that's going to look like and what that's going to enable us to do here in Ohio as well. And then the third part of this strategy is what we call water restoration. So as much as we can optimize our use of water and then reclaim that water, we're still going to have evaporative losses. In most cases, it can be as much as 20% of the use of our water will be evaporated or lost to the atmosphere. And so in order to replace that remaining 20%, we have done a number of projects with external partners, state agencies, NGOs, national forests, and others to put water back to local watersheds. And I'd like to share one of those with you from Arizona.
We're in the middle of one of the harshest deserts on the planet, and so a life without water isn't really possible. The Salt River provides up to 60% of the water for the Phoenix metro area. April 25th of 2017, there was a wildfire known as the Cactus Fire that took place here on the Lower Salt River. And so in 2018, we applied for our first grant with Intel to start work on 70 acres of riparian habitat here in the burn scar.
The devastation of the Cactus Fire did create an opportunity for us as partners to come in and try something new and to implement this restoration project.
It really was able to burn at a really high severity and higher than you would typically see in a desert riparian ecosystem, and that was mainly due to this non-native plant called salt cedar. Invasive species generally will use resources like water, sunlight, and nutrients way faster than our native species. And we knew if nothing was done, it would quickly just kind of return to a monoculture of salt cedar, which we didn't want to see happen.
The issue with climate is that things are getting hotter, things are burning longer, resources are diminishing, and so for instance, Colorado River water supplies are really starting to see the impact with lowered levels in reservoirs.
And so the goal is to minimize the populations of those species and then increase that abundance and diversity of native plant species.
With Intel's support, we've been able to restore about 150 million gallons of water annually to the Salt River system. And Intel made it possible for us to plant about 100,000 trees to date. It's important to biodiversity, it's important to wildlife, and really it's important to people. If we don't take action today, these special places that we go and recreate, that we depend on, will be impacted. There is no question.
It's not just here in the desert Southwest that rivers are so important. Without them, we don't exist, and so I think it's important to make sure we're kind of giving back.
Without Intel's support, we wouldn't be here today. The effort itself is important from a water sustainability perspective, but really it's the people behind the effort that are so important and that I think can be a model for others in other places.
I share that because I think there's a couple of themes there. One, we can go much further together than we can separately or independently. And certainly we realize that, even though we have a lot of resources as a big, as one of the world's largest semiconductor manufacturers, we can only go so far by ourselves. And I think these types of projects, what excites me is the opportunity to do that together. And then, as I said in the video, at the end of the day, it's all about the people, which the people in Ohio, as I've shared with several of you, absolutely outstanding in terms of the support that we've received and the quality of the people. We've just been, every time I come, we made the right decision to come to Ohio. There is no question about it because of the people that are here. So all of the things that I just talked about that we're doing at a global level, we are applying here in Ohio. And trying to build as sustainably as possible. And so, as I mentioned, the building being built to LEED standards, very energy efficient. Typically, that gives us 20 to 30% improvement in our energy efficiency over a standard building by following the LEED standards. 100% renewable electricity is our goal for all of our operations here in Ohio. We've implemented a tremendous amount of what we call heat recovery. It's hard to explain until you see it, the scale of what we're doing. We produce chips that are the size of your thumbnail, and each of those chips will have over 1 billion transistors on them, and each of those transistors are turning on and off over 1 billion times a second. So what we're building is at the atomic level, but the facilities to build that are big, are very large. And so one of the challenges that we have is all of the equipment that's used to manufacture these products and all the heat that's generated. And so what we've figured out how to do over the years is capture as much of that waste heat as possible. We just brought a new factory online in Ireland, and we were able to achieve an 8-to-1 ratio of capturing waste heat to then use for various heating applications versus using a fossil fuel to burn and create that heat. So an 8-to-1 ratio. And so we're applying those same learnings that we did in Ireland here in Ohio. Greenhouse gas abatement, we will implement a variety of different abatement devices for our manufacturing operations so that the greenhouse gases that we do use will be greatly reduced before they are emitted. In our construction process, our target is over 90% waste recycling during our construction phase, which we ultimately want to get to zero waste to landfill over the next decade. I mentioned the water recycling, and as I said, that project is currently in design for a very similar water reclaim facility to what we now have in Oregon and Arizona and Israel and other locations around the world. Lastly, I wanted to mention as well that it's not just the products that we manufacture, but the products that we sell to our end customers. And so it's important, and we have thousands of engineers working in manufacturing, but we have equally as many engineers working on designing the products in the first place. And so we've embedded sustainability in that these product designers are looking at how can we embed and lower the embedded carbon that's in the product that we ultimately are going to sell to our customers. A big part of that is energy efficiency, and so our goal is to have our products be 10x more energy efficient over the next decade, as well as designing them to be smaller, to use less space, to use less materials in the design of that product as they go forward. So our commitment, let me summarize here and wrap things up. 3 points. And hopefully what you'll see from Intel, and if you're not seeing this from Intel, please call us out, please reach out to us, because our commitment when it comes to sustainability is threefold. One, it starts with reducing our own footprint, and that includes how we manufacture our products. Number 2, we're building that sustainability into the products and services that we're offering to the world. And then number 3, we want to collaborate. again, we can go much further together than we can by ourselves, and we look forward to doing that with you. And so the last thought I'll leave with you is from Robert Noyce. He was one of our founders. And you'll see this when you come to visit Intel. You'll see this in our headquarters. You'll see this at a lot of the entrances to our buildings. And his quote and his challenge when he was alive to the company was, "Don't be encumbered by history. Go off and do something wonderful." I can't think of a better tagline for sustainability. Let's all not be encumbered by the past, but look to the future and what can we do that is wonderful together. Thank you. It's great to be here with you, and we're super excited to be in Ohio.
Please welcome to the stage Gahanna Mayor Lori Jadwin, Ohio EPA Director Ann Vogel, Kenny McDonald, CEO of Columbus Partnership, and Bo Chilton, Executive Director of Impact Community Action.
Good morning, everyone. Nice
morning.
to see you again.
Good morning.
I'm Lori Jadwin. We'll be hosting this panel discussion. Todd, thank you for that wonderful presentation. Truly is inspiring to hear all the work that Intel is doing, and we look forward to continuing this conversation on a little bit lower level as we dive a little deeper here. Before we get started, I'm going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves. I'll start on the far end. You look a little familiar. I might have seen you someplace.
Thank you, Mayor. It's great to be here today. I'm Kenny McDonald. I'm President and CEO of the Columbus Partnership and also President of One Columbus. I also want to thank Todd. He's been a leader for the last couple of years. Had the honor to meet with him and take some leaders to Arizona to see some of the facilities. He was just bragging about it. He's been a great guy, but he's still learning. You know, we would never walk across the street to see a Michigan guy speak in Columbus, Ohio. So Tom Brady, you're a much bigger draw than that guy that played at that school up north, buddy.
Good morning, Mayor. Thanks for having me. I'm Ann Vogel. I'm the director of the Ohio EPA. On behalf of Governor DeWine and Lieutenant Governor Husted, thanks for having us. Thank you, MORPC, for hosting. Look forward to the discussion today.
Bo Chilton, CEO of Impact Community Action. I want to also congratulate William and his staff on hosting yet another fabulous sustainability conference. And I'm excited to share with my wife what an exciting day this has been. I want to share with her that I've been able to meet Todd Brady, cousin to Tom Brady, and that he called me his peeps.
That's right.
And so I feel very good about that, and this is full circle for me. So Mayor Jadwin, I am a resident of Gahanna, so thank you for your service. Appreciate the partnership that we have with Ohio EPA. And for Kenny, this is full circle. We kicked off this work with Mayor Ginther's Climate Action Plan, and it kicked off in Linden, which is Gino Tucker's stomping grounds at the Linden Recreation Center. I want to claim him as one who came through some of our programs and is flourishing. But it's full circle because I remember kicking off the Climate Action Plan at Linden, and we were in the nice rec center, a beautiful facility, full court, and Kenny looked me in my eye and said, "What do you think about a one-on-one after this press conference?" And I said, "My goodness, one-on-one in basketball has been a number of years." And then when I saw Mayor Ginther, I told him, I said, "Man, Kenny, he's a really competitive kind of guy. He challenged me to a one-on-one." He said, "Yeah, me too." I told him I didn't have the right shoes. So I said, "I'll go with that same thing." So feels full circle to be here with my peeps.
Welcome, and thank you, all of you, for sharing your time with us this morning. So obviously, we've talked a little bit and heard from Todd as to what Intel is doing on a global level and what they will be doing here locally. But let's talk a little bit deeper about how sustainability is impacting our Central Ohio area. So I'm going to go back to each of you again, and we'll go in reverse order. So Bo, I'll start with you. Can each of you speak briefly about what you do on a daily basis in your roles and how sustainability is important to that work?
Absolutely. So We provide a number of services meant to help low-income people become self-sufficient. Our mission is to fight poverty by providing hope-inspiring help and real opportunities for self-sufficiency. We do that through a number of workforce programs, as you saw through the Empowered, but also through energy assistance programs. We operate the LIHEAP program, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, as well as a weatherization program meant to help people reduce their energy costs. On average, we've been able to help customers reduce their energy burden by about 28%. And also have a partnership with MORPC, who does similar work with weatherization. And so sustainability is not just something that we think about, it's something that we do every day, and we're trying to spread that in the community and get more people involved.
Yeah, well, so we have really, I hope, flipped the script on Ohio EPA as just a regulator. You know, we are partners, we're partners with everybody up here, we're partners with all of the communities in the room, with MORPC, and the sustainability front specifically, what we do best is convene. We do a good job, I think, and we'll do better, of collecting all the best ideas in the room, sharing them across the state of Ohio, helping to identify funding opportunities, helping to identify grants, administering grants. I've got a lot of folks in the room today that you should definitely hit up to talk about grant opportunities, whether it's on the water side, whether it's on the solid waste side. We're always looking to steal the best ideas and to spread them across the state of Ohio.
I'll maybe take a point of privilege, since we have hundreds of leaders in the room, and maybe come at this a little differently. Obviously, the title of the day is sustainability, but what we're really after is building the best communities in the world. And a point where there's the events of last night in Maine, the open anti-Semitism and racism that we've seen in the last couple of weeks needs to be called out, and we just call on all the leaders to stand up and stand for what's right, and don't hesitate to tweet that out and mention that as we go about the day, because I think without doing some of that, we can't get to some of the technical stuff that we're talking about today. Now let me say, sustainability is just it's a really interesting issue right now, because I think it's at the heart of being planful for a growing region. We are blessed to be a growing region, and for the last 15 years, we've been growing very steadily. And we're not growing at the pace of an Austin, thank goodness, or even Phoenix, where Todd mentioned, but we're growing on a very steady pace so that we're bringing in revenue so that we can actually do some of these things. And so I love meetings like this, and I'll applaud the MORPC team for allowing us to take a deep breath, learn from each other, learn from world leading companies like Intel and others that are coming into our region that are doing some really fascinating things, because it's time for us to do things differently as we continue to grow and we sort of forge our future. And I know I was talking to a group last night. I came here 13 years ago, and there was multiple groups who said, manufacturing's not our future. If you're going to lead economic development here, we want advanced industries. So I don't know if anybody saw Todd's presentation that he just showed, but I kind of ignored that advice, and I think some of the world leaders in sustainability and building great communities are our manufacturers, and it's absolutely true if you look across our region now. And I'll point to a couple more. Fidel down in Circleville wins environmental awards around the world every year. I think even some of the data centers that we have growing here are some of the world's best water and energy users, are sophisticated about it, along with all the companies we have. And obviously Intel, and Todd's presentation spoke to their expertise. I'll end with one final point. When we went to Chandler to talk to their team and actually the mayor of Chandler and the utilities director, we said, do you guys go to Israel to look at world leading water technologies and stuff like that? And they said, no, in fact, most people come here because what we've been able to do with Intel and Intel itself, that's world class. And so people are coming there. I look towards a future where people are coming to the Columbus market to see what we're doing here. And that's going to happen fairly soon with partners like we have on stage.
Great segue, actually, to our next question. So we all know the Central Ohio region is growing, has been growing for years, and the latest projections are that there will be over 3 million people by 2050. So this creates an opportunity for us to be intentional about public health and about access to opportunity for all of our residents. One of MORPC's top priorities is to create an environment for prosperity. So sustainability is a big part of that equation. So Kenny, as you are talking to businesses that are considering locations and where they want to kind of plant their roots and locate, what are you hearing from them with regard to the importance of green energy, sustainability, and access to nature?
You know, most conversations we have with businesses now start with talent, right? So it's a huge pinch point for everyone around the world. Most growing regions like ours have 2%, 3% unemployment. And that's both a brag point. It's also, you know, a challenge for growing employers, including our own. And they want to know where are my people going to come from, and where do they live, and what kind of lives do they live here? And that's probably true for most communities when they're being sort of evaluated by people that are making decisions about where they want to put their capital, where they're going to plant their future. It was certainly true for the Intel project. They want to locate in quality communities, and they also want to improve those communities, and they want to know how they can do it. And they also know that we all have problems, that everything isn't working perfectly. What they want to know more is, what are you doing about it? And talk openly about how you're doing about it. And that should be a pride point for us. Not that everything's perfect, but that we're working on it, and we're locking arms, stacking hands, and we're doing it with multi-stakeholders, with a big table, and across sectors: academic, government, nonprofit, business itself. We've had the CHIPS team in town the last 48 hours, and they're seeing some of this collaboration every day, and the partnerships that have been formed since Intel. But honestly, a bunch of the partnerships we're talking about in this work have been in place for decades. And I'm glad that others are coming to our community and actually seeing it. So I think we got a heck of a story to tell, and we keep telling it.
Excellent, thank you. Bo, congratulations again on your Collaborative Achievement Award, and way to represent Gahanna. Proud of you, that's awesome. So as the Executive Director of the Impact Community Action, part of your work, as you've talked about, is around helping our most vulnerable residents through weatherization, but also through emergency energy assistance, both in the summer and the winter. So how would you describe the importance of these types of programs in a growing region that we're experiencing?
Absolutely. And I think Kenny touched upon something that was very important when he talked about kind of what's happening in our world. And if we think about sustainability across 3 sectors, economic sustainability, environmental, but also social. You know, some people would put that as profits, planet, and people. We have to be concerned about all. And so our focus is making sure that we do live out the Columbus way, and that we do become the most prosperous region in the United States. And we want to ensure that there's prosperity for all. So that means that we have to make sure that as we grow, we talk about smart growth. We want to talk about growth that includes all people. And so for some of our most vulnerable who are facing rising housing prices, rising energy costs, we want to make sure that we're doing the types of things that will help them sustain their own households through those subsidized energy assistance programs.
Director Vogel, so certainly the Ohio EPA, as we all know, ensures our residents have access to a clean environment, especially water and air. And if we remember earlier this summer, we had significant spikes in air pollution, largely from the Canadian wildfires. The work to protect our residents who are most vulnerable continues, I think, to increase in the importance of that work. And certainly those who are most vulnerable to respiratory illnesses is something that has become increasingly critical. So as the director of the Ohio EPA, what is your approach to making sure that we continue to improve our air quality while also adding more jobs and adding people to the Central Ohio region?
It's a great question. You know, we're focused on balance at the Ohio EPA, and the governor emphasizes that need to find that balance between the workforce and protecting our environment. And you know, We do see things like the wildfires that we can't control, but there are a lot of things that we can control, and we have such good partners in this room who have, let's first of all celebrate and acknowledge how far we've come in the state of Ohio and in the Columbus region in terms of improvement in air quality over the last 30 years. That's to be celebrated, but we've got a ways to go, and we know that innovation is going to solve for a lot of that. And so we partner with our industry. We want to come alongside industry and help with innovation, support innovation, the kind that Todd was talking about. So there's a lot of opportunity there. I'm very excited that under the governor's leadership, we are full steam ahead on the climate pollution reduction grant, the solar for all, the greenhouse gas emission, all of the federal money that's available that all of you in this room are helping us lead the way on. So there will be a lot of programs available. There will be a lot of money available to upgrade old technology, things of that nature, to get some of the low-hanging fruit that's still out there available. But also I'm excited about Ohio State's Innovation District. There's a whole building dedicated to energy. I can't wait to see, what some of the best and brightest. And Ohio's always led the way on innovation, and I think that that's going to hold true on cleaner air too.
Can I brag on their team a little bit? So it's pretty regular that when we have a client come in, particularly a larger manufacturer or something like that, that the EPA is in the room with us for the first meetings. It isn't like we have to take scheme and say get everybody ready to go meet with the EPA in Ohio. We have a liaison dedicated to the most sophisticated projects we have, including Intel and others, that they're at the table right away. And it really sort of takes it's so positive. Believe me, that's not happening in California or Massachusetts or New York, but it's happening in Ohio, and it's actually a strategic advantage.
I appreciate the collaboration, and thank you for jumping in on that, because that's where I was going to go too. Is we really appreciate the work that has been done, and just sitting up here with the three panelists and seeing the communication, and certainly as a member of the Sustainability Committee for MORPC and knowing MORPC's work in this field, just the communication that is happening in aligning initiatives is just, I think, truly impactful for our region. You mentioned we've made a lot of progress, still a lot of room to go, and we know our climate is changing. The temperature today, it's October 26th. Temperature today, 78 degrees, the forecast. So we're seeing mild winters. We saw certainly the wildfires that impacts everything from our air quality to climate. So as Central Ohio continues to change with its climates, and we continue to see kind of those from extreme rains to drought, let's talk about resilience. So Ann, I'm looking at you. We are so grateful to the Ohio EPA for leading and being a great partner on a region-wide water supply, something we were talking about earlier, Kenny, and the water supply and demand study to better understand how much water capacity we have today and how it will match up for the growing demand of our region. We're fortunate to live in a region that has plentiful water today, but we need to ensure that we are able to maintain that water supply going forward. So can you share a little bit more about this study and what you hope to accomplish with it?
Yeah, happy to. Thank you for the question. And I really do need to thank MORPC for leading on this. We are launching a 15-county water study. This is about water infrastructure needs across the region. This has never been done. We have a lot of county-by-county data. There are a lot of counties who have led the way, a lot of communities in this room who know your needs and what you have, but you might not know what your neighbor's needs are. So this is about identifying capacity, availability, and capacity needs across the region so that we can be smart about this incredible resource that we have, which is water. So that we can be smart about, how are we going to get wastewater to the new homes that we need to build for all the Intel employees coming? How are we going to get drinking water there? So focused still on safety of that water, but also just the nuts and bolts, where do we need infrastructure to be built, and who's going to build it in the best way, and I just want to say thank you to everybody in this room who set aside their political differences to come together and support the MORPC resolution supporting this 15-county. I can't overstate what a big deal this is. You know, this is a home rule state, and we're dedicated to that, and we know that everybody has their own service territory, but coming together to talk about it is a very big deal. So I want to say thank you to all of you. We're going to lead the way on this with our partners. We are going to take this as a model for the state to go look at where this should be done, where regionalization should happen statewide, so again, so that we can be protective of our greatest natural resource here in Ohio. So I appreciate the question and look forward to talking with a lot of you about this study as we get this underway.
Thank you for that. So certainly as a leader of a community that's 10 minutes away from Intel, Kenny and I, this is going to segue to the conversation we were having about 8 o'clock here in this room this morning about the impacts, not only from Intel, but then the surrounding communities and how that continues to extrapolate. So as our goal is to be the most prosperous in the prosperous region in the country, what is your perspective on the need for collaboration on the regional water resources and the supply that we have?
Well, really every big challenge, big system challenge we have requires that we work across jurisdictions, across our metro area. And we're finding that water's an example, transit is an example. Really everything we do, those employees that are going to work at our great companies across our all of Central Ohio don't pay attention to the jurisdictional lines that they're crossing when they go to work in the morning. And so many of us are in multiple communities as we go about our day and go get health care and education and all the things we do in our daily lives. So the fact that I'll add to Ann's comments, just an appreciation for people coming to the table and recognizing that, you know, we can actually get farther. I'll just go, you know, focus on the big prize, which is, if I look at North America, not even the U.S., North America, the U.S. Midwest has this enormous opportunity with what's going on with climate, and I think it's our time right now and then well into the future, and managing resources like water and aligning it with the work we have to do in transit and transportation, things like that, is absolutely critical, because we can increase our advantage quite a bit. And if I lived in New Mexico for a couple of years, and if I watered my sidewalk, paratroopers would have come out. And I see us, you know, it'll be pouring down rain and we're still watering our lawns and stuff sometimes. It's a precious resource. We should keep it like that, but we should also cross lines. And you know, as someone who's spent the last 13 years in this region practicing regionalism, bringing leaders together, many of you have been unbelievable. We start to talk the same language. We start to find best practices, not just from around the world, but from the community next door. And the more we do that, the better and better and better we get. And that's not normal. That's not done everywhere. And the appreciation of that should go up, not be stagnant. So let's keep having these conversations. I'll applaud MORPC for being our partner in that every single day, building those lines of communication so that we can keep advancing this stuff.
Great answer. I want to dig a little deeper. So with so much attention from the business community on climate resilience, what do you think we need to do as a region to continue to support our businesses and continue to attract jobs here?
Well, it's a business imperative to work on these things, not only because it's the right thing to do. You know, it's a profit and loss issue as well. The better you manage energy, the better you manage your facilities. Not only can you reduce your costs through better operations and just simple efficiencies, but you can also get the best people in the world to work for you, because those people that are coming out of our colleges and universities are paying attention to who's doing this work best, and they're gravitating towards them. And that doesn't mean who has the best ping pong tables and stuff anymore. It means, are they really doing the work, right? And can you prove it? And I mean, we have a lot of companies that are doing this work now. We've started to gather. Smart Columbus is an awesome vehicle that was created from a DOT grant, 8 years ago, and now is working hand in glove every day on sustainability in the city of Columbus and across our region to bring some of these tactics to the table. And I think it continues to improve as they started to get our sustainability leaders from our largest companies together. I think we have now 40 leaders that gather on a regular basis and meet each other and talk and start to make things better and learn from each other. That's going to make us a more competitive place, and we're going to continue to win because of that stuff that's unseen. And if we keep doing it, that advantage is only going to increase.
Bo, I love the work that your organization is doing to prepare our workforce for innovative clean energy jobs. How do you see this impacting the community, and what else do we still need to do to prepare our training and education to meet that demand?
Yeah, so I am really excited with a few new initiatives that we have. One, we received a $2 million grant from the Department of Energy, a demonstration grant to install solar panels and do energy retrofits in American Addition, which was a historically African-American neighborhood that did not see a lot of investment from the city. And so part of Mayor Ginther's initiative with the Climate Action Plan is to put more investment. And so again, thank the city for its partnership, Councilmember Remy for being a part of that. We want to make sure that the American Addition becomes the first African-American neighborhood in the country to be net zero on energy consumption. And so we're working towards that. We also received federal funds to build a solar workforce lab at our headquarters. So I'm really excited about that. But the step that we really need to take to meet the needs of employers and to connect people to jobs of the future, I'm happy to share, to co-chair with Ryan Burgess, CEO of Goodwill. We are co-chairs of the Workforce Development Network. And we've brought together nonprofit workforce development partners to try and address the workforce needs on a systemic level, to be that intermediary between the people and the employers who need those jobs. And so what we're also in the process of doing is setting up a pre-apprenticeship. This is still kind of new in the workforce space. And so we need to be really intentional about pre-apprenticeship and tapping into the schools, starting at I would even say at the elementary level, to start to educate young people about these types of careers.
Are you giving us the hook? No. Okay, just checking. Okay. I see you walking over there, Kessler. That's all right. So to all of you, what is one big idea around sustainability that we as a region should tackle? Maybe we've already touched on it, but maybe it's something we haven't. Bo, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think it's that pre-apprenticeship and starting with young people and getting them in the pipeline. We have to build the pipeline for jobs of the future.
Ann?
It's hard to pick one. I'm going to say wastewater to beer. I think reuse, yeah, it's happening, right? It's out there. Water reuse, industrial reuse. I'm very proud that we've started the first water reuse chapter in Ohio, part of the national organization. A lot of your communities and your utilities are part of that. It's got to be about conserving and reusing our water for industrial use.
I think so many times, when we talk about sustainability, we look for leading edge technologies where we kind of gravitate, and we talk a lot about renewable energy and stuff, and we separate it from the work that NiSource, AEP, and our great utilities are doing across our region, and the work they do every day. I would maybe call on us to make sure that we're having our utilities, who are really leaders in these fields, to help us join these tables, so that we're not having a conversation only about alternative energy, but we're talking about base load energy, and we're talking about some of the big stuff too, like the water issue. There's unique solutions, and there's interesting stuff, but we also have big needs as a growing region, and with some of our facilities, and so having the big system players and stuff at the table at the same time, and not having two separate rooms for these things, is really, really important. And again, I just see a lot of positive activity and call on this room to keep coming together.
Thank you for that. So last question for all of you. As you think about Central Ohio, what gives you the most hope that we will be a sustainable, resilient, and prosperous region in the future? Ann, I want to start with you this time in the middle.
I grew up here. This is home for me, and I feel more optimistic than ever about where we're headed. I think that one thing that makes us be positive.
What's one thing that gives you hope for the future?
Honestly, I'll say it again. I think the ability of folks in this room to come together and work together is the biggest thing that gives me hope, actually.
Kenny, I'm going to let Bo have the last word. I'm going to have you. I just took yours.
I don't see complacency. It'd be easy to do. You know, it'd be easy to say we've had a good run and that we've made a lot of progress. But we cannot be complacent, and I don't see it. I think the further we go, the more ambitious we get, and that's going to be required. Things don't get easier. Our problems don't get less expensive or easier as we move forward and continue to scale. And then I'll call on everybody, and I think most of us know this, go visit a school and talk to them about this issue and see kids sort of light up when they see what's possible. And I'll applaud Intel on this, going to county fairs and getting in front of classrooms and stuff, because those bright eyes, they're going to have far better ideas than anybody in this room on what we're talking about in a few short years. And the fact that we're igniting that ambition in them maybe would give us all a little lift.
I think he set you up really well, Bo. Go ahead.
I really do have to point it back to the collaboration. The theme here is collaborate, or collaboration, innovation, and inspire. That's what I see in the Central Ohio. One of my favorite quotes is, there's three kind of people in this world: those who are in the game, those who are on the sidelines watching the game, and those who don't know the game's being played. We have a community where people are willing to roll up their sleeves and get involved and get in the game. And as long as we continue to do that, and as I shared with you earlier, Kenny's really competitive when he wanted to challenge me one-on-one. And so the fact that we got Kenny on our team, I'm very confident that we will be the most prosperous and sustainable region.
You guys have been awesome this morning. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. I think you just summed it up so well. The theme for today's summit, collaboration, inspire, innovate, is what is going to lead us through. And it is going to take the public sector, the private sector, our nonprofit organizations to all work together collaboratively. But if we have leaders like you who are up ahead and creating that path for us, I think that we are well prepared for the future. So thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good job.
Okay, I'm about to release you all into your breakout sessions. But before I do, I want to thank our panelists that just spoke. I want to thank Todd Brady from Intel for being here. And Todd, I would take you over Tom Brady any day. If there was a Tom Brady and a Todd Brady breakout session, I'd be at the Todd Brady breakout session. That's right. Round of applause for that. Thank you. Also want to thank again NOPEC for being our presenting sponsor this morning. And again, congratulate our Sustainability Award winners. The panel just closed on a really great note, talking about what are some of these key takeaways. And I would add one word to that, and that is urgency. This room is fuller than it ever has been, and it's full of local leaders who have a very concrete ability to impact change. Sometimes I feel a little bit of dissonance at these events. They're just so comfortable. We're just hanging out in this really nice room, while around us, we're talking about a problem that is really an existential crisis. We're wearing really nice clothes, at least you guys are. Cracking really bad jokes, at least I am. That was my bad joke. While discussing what's a terribly pressing issue, it almost feels like we're the band playing on while the ship is sinking. The good news is, this band has some tools. We have the ability to help right the ship. Back in 2019, the Guardian newspaper, that very conservative British newspaper, changed their style guide. They no longer use the term climate change. They instead prefer climate emergency or crisis or breakdown. I like to use climate apocalyptic death spiral. That's my preferred one. Without dramatic intervention, the change, the death spiral, will occur in increasingly tragic ways, ways that are avoidable only with meaningful action, and that's why we're here, right? Today I ask you, if you haven't already, take heart that sense of urgency. We know that in Ohio, much of the action needs to occur at the local level. Director Vogel talked about home rule. We're also blessed to have the director of ODNR and Ohio EPA in this room, which is incredibly important. But at this local level, we know that our leadership is necessary in making progress. Sometimes it seems like it can be overwhelming and insufficient to tackle the climate crisis at the local level. It seems like every step we take is just kind of like a drop in the bucket. But every day, as leaders, we make hundreds of decisions that collectively have a huge impact. And we are leading Ohio as a region here in Central Ohio, and we have an ability to make a huge impact. The programming and the panels organized today are phenomenal. I want to recognize and thank MORPC and MORPC staff. The work that you have done in organizing this is amazing. Thank you for the panelists who are participating this morning. I urge you to make the most of today and take this time to authentically and urgently explore the ways that you can continue to engineer meaningful change in your spheres of influence. And after you've explored those ideas, make them happen. Create your own innovative paths. It kind of resonates with the quote from Intel. Aim to be our future panelists and our future Pechakucha speakers. Leaders of Central Ohio, if not you, then who? What a great day to come together and foment action together. Your breakout sessions await you. I'll see you back here at lunchtime, where we're going to hear from William Murdoch. We're going to hear from Mitchell Silver, who is the former Parks Commissioner of New York City, and our Pechakucha speakers. It's going to be a great day. Get some coffee and enjoy your morning sessions.